US Alysa Liu versus Eileen Gu. How two Chinese-American stars wound up on opposite sides of an Olympic proxy war. Both athletes are the children of single parents who moved to the Bay Area from China, but they took very different paths after that. Just minutes after Alysa Liu won a historic Olympic figure skating gold for the U.S., her story as the child of a Chinese-American immigrant who fled communism spread like wildfire across social media. Almost immediately, that discourse evolved, in many circles, into comparisons to another Chinese-American superstar who has dominated headlines in Milan Cortina, American-born Team China skier Eileen Gu. Alysa Liu. Eileen Gu. Barstool Sports founder Dave Portnoy wrote in a post on X, "The triumph of America over China." Other pundits were quick to point out the contrast between Liu's story, a tale of American loyalty among an immigrant's child, and Gu, who chose to compete for Team China when she was 15 years old despite living her life in California. Eileen Gu is unlucky that Alysa Liu's patriotism stands in stark contrast to Gu's betrayal of her country, American lawyer and political analyst Gordon Chang told Fox News Digital. Just how different and how similar are the two Olympic superstars? Liu and Gu were each born to single parents who left China. They both grew up in the Bay Area. Liu's father, Arthur Liu, was there in Tiananmen Square in the spring and summer of 1989. The Tiananmen Square protests, also known as the Tiananmen Square Massacre, proved to be a life-changing moment for Arthur and a history-changing moment for everyone else. Hundreds of Chinese students and residents in the capital city of Beijing were killed by the country's military for protesting the communist government. Arthur was later summoned to report to the office of Chinese Communist Party Youth League to address his presence that day. "I refused to provide them any more names of students who had participated in the organization of the demonstrations. I was going to take full responsibility for everything that had happened since at one time I was elected the president of the Guangzhou Autonomous Student Union of Universities," Arthur Liu told USA Today. "Going to prison for me was a matter of time." He had to sneak onto a boat to Hong Kong, risking up to 3 years in prison or a labor camp. The boat took an extended detour to avoid military detection. He later fled to California from there. His persistence, and he's brave too, Alysa told Fox News Digital of her father during a roundtable interview at the USOP Media Summit in October.
"We all knew about it.
He had some stories for us, but we also found out from our other relatives. They would tell us as well." In the 1980s, Gu's mother, Yen Gu, was a student at Peking University studying chemistry and biochemistry, according to the New York Times. She came to the United States to earn a master's degree, eventually earning it from Stanford. At age 40, Yen gave birth to Eileen and raised her as a single parent, according to Olympics.com. Not much is known about Gu's father. Eileen has not publicly commented on him and declined to answer questions about him with the New York Times. And Liu doesn't even know her own mother. She and Arthur's 4 other children were conceived using an anonymous egg donor and a gestational surrogate. As a lawyer, Arthur Liu raised Alysa and her siblings in Oakland. Yen raised Eileen Gu across the bay in San Francisco. Alysa began skating at age 5 when her father brought her to the Oakland Ice Center. She later trained under Laura Lipetsky, a former figure skater who had trained under Figure Skating Hall of Fame coach Frank Carroll. Gu excelled as a student and as an athlete throughout her adolescence. She scored 1580 out of 1,600 on her SAT exams. Every summer, she went back to China for a few weeks to get extra math practice, according to The Guardian. Gu competed in her first Freestyle Ski World Cup in January 2019. At that time, she was representing the U.S. But it was the last time Gu would represent the U.S. China embarked on a mission to recruit overseas athletes with Chinese lineage, especially in America. It was called the Chinese Naturalization Project. The project accelerated around 2018 to 2022, aimed at recruiting foreign-born athletes, primarily with Chinese heritage, to boost competitiveness, notably for the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics and soccer, according to the China Project. Gu and Liu were top recruiting targets. Gu traded in her red, white, and blue for red and gold. Just months after competing in her first Freestyle Ski World Cup for the U.S. in January 2019, She competed for China for the first time in June of that year after requesting a change of nation with the International Ski Federation. In an announcement on Instagram, she said she made the decision to help inspire millions of young people in China and to unite people, promote common understanding, create communication, and forge friendships between nations. 7 years after the decision, Gu is the highest-paid Winter Olympic athlete in the world, making an estimated $23 million in 2025 alone due to partnerships with Chinese companies, including the Bank of China and Western companies. The Wall Street Journal reported last week that Gu and Zhu Yi, a fellow American-born figure skater who now competes for China, were paid a combined $6.6 million by the Beijing Municipal Sports Bureau in 2025 for striving for excellent results in qualifying for the 2026 Milan Winter Olympics. Overall, the two were reportedly paid nearly $14 million over the past 3 years. The Lius remained loyal to Team USA. Arthur was reportedly not open to persuasion to having Alysa compete for China, according to The Economist. Both athletes competed at the 2022 Beijing Winter Olympics, Gu representing China and Liu representing the US. Gu won 2 gold medals and 1 silver in free skiing and went home to California as a new global household name for her success. Liu finished in 6th place in women's singles figure skating, then went into a temporary early retirement. Gu has refused to answer questions about the Chinese government's actions. Liu has been directly targeted by Chinese government actions. Gu has become a target for global criticism this Olympics for her decision to represent China while remaining silent on the country's alleged human rights abuses. In an interview with Time magazine, Gu has asked her thoughts on China's alleged persecution of Uyghurs and other Turkic Muslim minorities in Xinjiang. "I haven't done the research. I don't think it's my business. I'm not going to make big claims on my social media," Gu answered.